And welcome back, folks, here to the Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTKA online at WTK.com. This is the week that we have all been waiting for. This is what it's all about. Michigan, Ohio State, undefeated, clash of the Titans for all the marbles. This is the Big Ten championship game. They're going to bowl over whoever comes from the West, just like every year the Big Ten championship game that's happened. And it is going to happen again this year. These are the games we remember. I have sitting across from me a guy who is suited up in this contest, who knows what it is to play against Ohio State, and has been predicting this moment from the onset that these two teams would meet with all the marbles on the line. Joining me as he does every single week, my guy DG, the Monday morning quarterback, Devin Gardner. DG, how are you, man?
Man, it's a lot of marbles on that table.
Right?
It's a lot of marbles.
You feeling it, man?
I ain't never had this many marbles in my life. It's a lot of marbles on that table. It's exciting. It's exciting. 11-0 versus 11-0. The only better matchup was what 2007, 2006?
2006.
Right, 1 versus 2, but I mean, it don't get no better than this. Yeah, I mean, last year was pretty, it was pretty big deal, but this year is insane. 11-0 versus 11-0. I cannot, let me reiterate, I cannot wait. Oh man, it's gonna be good.
Right.
Won't be able to watch it.
And you see the contrast in styles that really seems like it's gonna be at play again this year.
I got a little bit to say on that, but
right.
Yeah, that's what we see. Yes.
Yeah, and they were having some time. I don't know how they're feeling about it now after watching the Illinois game. They had a little nail biter too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But they were shook from that game last year. Ryan Day was shook. The program was shook. He's firing his boys and trying to change up. We got to be more physical and try to change the identity a little bit. Yeah. So I like that element too. Like they stepping into this game like, this not your same old Michigan that we used to beat up on.
Well, yeah, it's always weird when head coaches say, "Oh man, we got to make it more physical," and he starts firing other people. Wait a minute. Doesn't the team take on the identity of the coach? But that's neither here nor there, right? You got to pass the buck. It's not me, somebody else, but they did. They got Knowles from Oklahoma State, and I had Oklahoma State last year, and their defense was always so good under him, and he's come in and he's done a good job. He has done a very good job at Ohio State. You said the opposing styles. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see the air taken out of the ball. I want to see Michigan take advantage of the things they can take advantage of that was shown. We saw Maryland take some advantage of the back end and the defense of Ohio State. I want to see them drop back and throw the ball and still run the ball, obviously, but not like, it's 3rd and 7. Let's just run the ball. No, absolutely not. 3rd and 4. We're going to run it every single time. I don't want to see that at all. I want to see them win, lose, or draw, put the ball in the hands of the guy who's won 11 games now, right? So he's a grown-up. Put the ball in his hands, allow him to make throws, and win the game.
They might not have a choice.
I know. I know.
They might not have a choice in this. Blake says he's good, but what else is he gonna say, right?
Yeah, no. Even if he is good, the thing is, they are not allowing us to just run down their throat like we did last year. You think he fired his homeboys to allow that to happen again? No. Now we're still gonna be able to run the ball. It's not like they're gonna say, "Hey, we're not letting you run the ball at all," unless I wouldn't be surprised though. Just because we haven't shown the propensity to be able to throw the ball every play and keep up maybe with their passing game, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put everybody in the box, right? Stack the box completely, take him away, kind of the way that Derek Green was taken away this past weekend in the NFL. Completely take him away, right? And say, you know what? We'll give up a couple big plays, but you're not going to be able to do it consistently because you haven't practiced it nearly enough in games. So I think that's what I would do. Right? Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. He's a young guy still, first time in the rivalry. I mean, even though he came in and played spot duty last year, threw some nice throws, I would stack that box with everybody that I have, right? Beat us on the outside. Beat us. Mm-hmm. Throw it. Because we're not letting you run it.
Yeah. All right. So let's look back because we're going to spend an ample amount of time on Ohio State. Let's go back to this Illinois game. Mm-hmm. What did you see, DG? I mean, how did it match up with your expectations heading into the game?
I didn't know they were sitting so many players first. I didn't, I don't read the blogs, or I don't know where you learn that stuff. I have other stuff to do.
I hear you.
I know
I
who Texas Tech was sitting, but I didn't know they were sitting so many players. But so I have a game, right? I'm doing a game, right? I'm doing my game, and halftime, at halftime or sometime I look at my phone and I have a text from a Valley Rally producer who shall remain nameless, saying, kind of like, picking with me. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, you know what I mean? I go look. I'm like, what? Michigan's down? what is going on? Right? And so I don't know. And then, you start to see like some Twitter stuff and whatever. Oh, he's not the guy. He can't throw. He's so inaccurate. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And then I see they talk about how I saw Blake Corum on a commercial, like, or whatever, walking off. And I don't trust anybody else. I like to watch the games for myself because people are emotional. They exaggerate things. And I go watch the game. That's yesterday. Not the TV copy, but the coach's copy. And I'm looking. I'm like, man, he's terrible? That seems ridiculous. Now, this was JJ's most inconsistent game. But I think it was very inconsistent with the play calling as well. Right?
I said that.
It was very inconsistent, right? Very inconsistent. But at the onset, this game looked exactly like every other game before Blake got hurt, right? And if Donovan was playing, it would have probably looked like that same game as it continued, even when Blake kind of went down. It was inconsistency all around, right? And we're gonna have a bunch of play, not a whole bunch, but some plays where we kind of show that where JJ missed layups, right? And we saw some where JJ hit them and they didn't catch it. Right. And so it's still kind of that same thing. Remember, I talked about it. You have to be in a position to make these plays. You have to be put in this position all year, and they just haven't truly done it. Right. And so now you get your running back goes out. You had already sat your backup running back, who I think just as good, right? A really good player in Donovan Edwards. Now we can't just run the ball. This is what Devin foresaw, right? I foreshadowed it. You have to get people in position to make these plays. And we didn't make the plays. And so the one confusing thing for me is, and it is killing me. It's killing me. I can't figure it out. Right? Because I've had a friend that's a wide receiver. He cannot hit Andrew Anthony. They cannot get on the same page. The ball's there, doesn't catch it. Right. And a bunch of times, Andrew was in a position running curls, and he's the guy that has to win. And I'm talking about cover like a blanket. And I'm like, what is going on, right? And so you think back to when you were a player, and you start to empathize, and it's like, man, these guys are kids, right? You don't know what he could possibly be going through where it's just not clicking, right? He's just not as savvy as a route runner. And remember last year, he's still a young guy, and we expect so much of him because of that explosive game that he had, and we've seen his talent, but he just hasn't quite gotten his feet up under him. It's like he started to drown a little bit, and now he's in the deep end, and he cannot get out, right? It's very, very concerning to see, but I hope that he figures it out, because Ohio State does not care what you're going through at all, right? And so he's going to be a part of the offense, but there was a lot of throws on the field that only a couple guys in the country can make, and then there were some missed layups. Right. So that's what I mean by inconsistency. It's so weird to say, oh, he's so inaccurate. Some of the throws that he missed that were the layups, he had hit those same throws perfectly in the same game. You know what I mean? So you try to figure out, why are you hitting the throw earlier on the same play? It was the one of them that's kind of in my mind glaringly is the tight end. Our new tight end is really good, by the way. 18. He's really good. Uh-huh. He's running the shallow cross, and they do the double shallow cross, like a mesh concept from the other side. He comes wide open, and he throws it for a first down early. And then when they get down the red zone, he just sails it over his head. And I'm like, what's going on? Now, obviously, when you're watching the game, you don't care what the weather is. You're a fan. You want people to throw the ball perfectly and all this. Weather is a factor, ladies and gentlemen. I have to tell you, when it's freezing cold, it's hard to control the ball. Was it windy? I wasn't there. Was it windy?
Absolutely.
All right, so windy and cold, right? Freezing cold and windy. Those are two scenarios where quarterbacks can be very, very inconsistent, right? That's a fact, right? That is a fact. There's no arguing with that at all. And I've been in that position where it's like, man, I made this throw so perfectly. It felt great. And then a gust of wind or whatever the case may be, or my hand's just a little too cold on this one. I don't know, but super inconsistent, but still made some flashy, very, very good throws that it's like, man, if we can do that on a consistent basis, this team is unstoppable. And then I want to talk about winning time. It's time to win the game, made the throws. Time to win the game, made the throws, made the plays. Right? And I want to give a shout to 41. I have no idea who this kid is.
Gash?
I have no idea who this kid is. He drops a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, drops a touchdown. On the game-winning drive, JJ goes to him, he makes the catch. Now, he hugged it. I don't care how you catch it. He hugged that ball, boy. When I tell you he hugged that ball,
Jim said he had one practice rep on that play.
I don't care about that. Catch the ball. But on the game-winning drive, on 4th down, the guy that dropped the touchdown that would have made this game a little different, right? You would have made the game if you score a touchdown instead of a field goal. He catches it with that belly button in that arm and wraps it around like a newborn baby and goes and gets that first down. That is outstanding. That's outstanding because I don't know what year he is. I don't know anything about him. All I know is I've never seen 41 doing anything.
Remember Sam Gash? It's this kid.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I've never seen him do anything. But guess what? I saw him drop that touchdown. I'm watching. So I didn't see it live, obviously. Yeah. I'll see it. I'm like, oh, my God. Did he just drop a touchdown? I'm like, I don't like it. And so I'm scrolling, going through the plays. Oh, it's him. He makes another appearance. What a play. And the fact that JJ, and remember I talked early in the year about ego and how there's no ego and there's no, like, it seems like there's no grudges held, right? Andrew drops the touchdown, and I don't know if it's a tough catch, but it's a play that he can definitely make. And he keeps trying to find him. He keeps trying to get on the ball, and there's no ego. There's no I'm mad at you or holding a grudge, right? I'm telling you, because a quarterback that's a blamer, right? You drop a touchdown, and now the game's in jeopardy. I can't throw you the ball again. That's what that's what most quarterbacks are gonna do. I can't throw you the ball again, right? Or you baby the ball or try to make it so perfect that you throw it in the ground or sail it over his head. Man, he drove that ball right on his chest, catches the ball, gets the first down. And then, obviously there are other plays like the one drop snap. Inexcusable. JJ, catch the snap. But also, right, the poise to get the ball, don't have a knee on the ground, get on the edge, make a play. Right. Those things cannot be ignored. Right. So you think about the inconsistency of play calling, inconsistency of play. And it's like, well, how can a young kid still have poise in a game? Right. On 4th down to make a throw, not a run play, a 4th down to make a throw, drop a snap and still have the poise in this cold weather to make a play because a play is needed. That's something that cannot be ignored. And I think, and like I said, I don't want the air taken out of the ball. Right. A lot of people say, yeah, that's the formula. Run the ball. No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to see it. If you're going to lose, go lose on your sword. Right. Go lose and make sure you give it the best shot. If you get blown out because of it, fine. Right. But I cannot watch them stacked up because that's what they're going to do. There's no way. There's no way Jim Knowles is going to let you run down his throat. He was brought here for this. That's it. He was brought here to beat the University of Michigan and their run game. He's not allowing it, period. That's the end. He is not going to allow you to just run the ball down his throat every single play. Now, you're still going to get some good runs and whatever, because as we talked about extensively, and you probably more with Borges, is the run game is as intricate as we've ever seen a run game. Not going to happen.
Yeah, so you said a lot, and I have a lot of reactions that I want to get to, especially about JJ. But Illinois had a great plan.
Illinois is a top 5 defense. Yeah, I don't think people realize that.
They had a great plan. You talk about tight ends.
Yeah.
Their game plan, we're going to blow up your tight ends in the run game.
Man.
And they were committed to that. Yes. It's like, we are not going to let tight ends spring these run plays. Because
that's who springs it a lot.
And, man, they were blowing them up play after play. They were blitzing their sandbacker, blitzing their safety. Mike was free a lot. Yeah. And Michigan's base run plays, they're like, we're going to make you do something else. Now, Blake still had 100 yards at halftime.
He did a great job still.
Right? So he's still making plays. But Were they able to slow him down enough? I mean, Michigan was going in for another score. It was going to be 14 or 10 at halftime. So that's slowing them down. They aren't running away from you.
Yeah.
Which makes it a more quarterback-dependent game. And this is where I'm getting at with you. Their identity is clearly run first, right? Of course. It's always going to be. Blake's your best player. Donovan's probably your second best player. But JJ's right there next. And you're looking for them.
Ronnie third, I think. Ronnie's really good this year.
JJ's high up there.
He's very up there. Yes.
All right. So the way
he can get even higher this week.
Yeah, the way but see, and this is where I'm going with the question. The way he's deployed is like either he's a game manager, just don't get his beat. Just don't get his beat. Right? Or you're this established veteran guy. Like we know you don't need to get warmed up. You don't need to get rhythm early. You can just instantly get it late because you're that guy. I don't think he's either of those. I think he's better than a game manager. He's more talented than that.
Yeah.
But he's also not that established veteran guy who, in a drop of a hat, is going to instantly find that rhythm when you need him. He eventually got there in the fourth quarter, right, and made those throws. But you talked about everything. He missed some layups, like you said. He missed some. He overthrew Colston Loveland. And if like somebody said you will never talk about JJ's errors, yes I do. Yes I do. I talked about how he missed Colston Loveland. He overthrew in the play before that. Colston was running the end zone. He hit the guy and tried to go to the guy.
But just a second. It's really interesting to me. Let him know. But it's really interesting to me that a guy who was leading the country in completion percentage. I don't understand if people know what completion percentage actually means. And the thing is, it's not a bunch of bubble screens, right? He threw some bubble screens early, but most of the time it was got to take the ball down the field, take the ball down the field. Leading the entire country in completion percentage. And then there's one freezing cold game with a lot of wind where he misses some layups. That's a fact. Misses some layups. And now, man, he just inaccurate, man. He can't throw. What, bro?
Yeah.
And one more stat. He is 70%. I think it was 70% on the dot versus top 25 teams. 70% on the dot versus top 25 teams.
Look, you don't have to convince me. I hear you. This is my point, and this is what I want you to get to. Rhythm in the passing game. Everything. He clearly didn't have his rhythm for much of the game. The receivers were out of rhythm. They were dropping some throws. At times they weren't able to get open. And then from a play calling perspective, you really didn't see that. I mean, I don't think we saw back-to-back passes. I have to go back and look, but I don't think we saw back-to-back passes till the fourth quarter. I mean, there was just not a focus on getting him that lather, getting him warmed up, establishing that rhythm for him. And I think at this stage of his career, and maybe it's always important for a quarterback. You tell me, you've been there. Is rhythm an important thing for you late in your career? I certainly think it is early in his career. How do you do that? And is that an important element in making sure their passing game is consistently like we saw it in the fourth quarter of this game?
So I think it's super important. And I want to go to one of the games I had where it was cold and windy, right? Everybody knows that Purdue throws the ball a lot. I'm talking about they let O'Connell throw that ball he throws the ball almost 45 times a game, right?
Yeah.
45 times a game. They're playing in the game, and they refuse to let him throw back-to-back passes. Cold and windy. So a guy who and their receiver is going to win receiver of the year in the Big Ten, even with the guy at Ohio State. He's got more yards, touchdowns than the guy at Ohio State, or tied for touchdowns, more yards, more catches, right? And so a team where it's a sixth-year senior quarterback, and they refuse, and it's not like they were blowing no horses out. It's a dogfight, right? A senior veteran quarterback, they didn't allow him to throw back-to-back passes because it's windy and cold. And so I don't want to completely judge the coaching staff for that because that's a real thing. And even though as a player, you're thinking, man, I can do it. I'm fine. As a coach, the game's on the line every single time he lets you do that, right? And I don't know how much – and obviously they haven't really shown that they completely trust JJ, even when it is nice weather.
Yeah, and I mentioned that as – it's not even just about back-to-back. Maybe I shouldn't even say that.
I completely understand what you're saying, but I'm just using that as an example. A team that throws the ball 45 times a game in a dogfight, but because of the weather, the coaching staff, The head coach is a former quarterback. His brother, who's the coordinator, is a former quarterback, right? And they want to throw the ball. That's how they play. That's their identity, right? And then you transfer over to Michigan. It's like, okay, their identity is not in throwing the ball. And it's the windy and the cold. And then you get a couple drops. So you miss a couple throws, and the coach is probably thinking like, let's just try to keep it on the ground and take the ball. But when they had to throw the ball, right, he delivered, period. He threw, I'm talking about the out route to Ronnie Bell where he's getting – I don't even know a word to call it, but the guy's all over him. Puts it perfectly on the outside where Ronnie Bell almost frames it up with one hand while the guy's holding on to his arm, right? In a big moment. That's a huge moment. Makes that throw, obviously the fourth down throw, and then the throw where he rolls out and hits 6 Cornelius Johnson, and that's a great catch by him, by the way. But I want to tell you talked earlier about game manager or whatever the case.
Game manager, or is he a guy that just doesn't even need rhythm? He can just.
So I want to make a comparison, and it's so funny because I was talking to one of my colleagues for Bally during a business game about Michigan, and last year after the season's like, hey, what do you think about the guy from Georgia, Stetson Bennett? I'm like, I think he's a dog. Right. And the stigma about Stetson Bennett is like, oh, he's just a game manager. He don't really do nothing for real. Wrong. If you watch Georgia play, he is the driving force of that offense. He makes throws. He makes timely runs. And so I think JJ can be that, but with a much higher ceiling because of his talent. Right. And so Stetson Bennett is an outstanding quarterback. I think he's not the biggest guy in the world, but makes throws and runs that keeps his team in the game. And so I started talking a couple weeks ago about manager. Okay, it's kind of an insult. I think it is, right? That means you can't do anything. You're just kind of making sure they don't mess it up. Control, a game controller. Stetson Bennett is probably the best game controller in the country for Georgia, right? Whenever they need to throw, he makes it. Whenever they need to run, he makes it. He does everything the team needs when they need it, right? And make sure everything is lined. And JJ can do those same things, but they don't truly trust him to do it all the time.
Yeah, see, I don't think that they'll go from how they use him now to how Stetson Bennett. I remember in the playoff game, he threw like 13 RPOs in the first half. I mean, you talk about putting the game in the quarterback's hands. They put the game in the quarterback's hands. I don't see that.
They're going to do it.
I don't see them.
They're going to do it. You want to know why? Because they don't have a choice. They're going to do it, Sam, because they don't have a choice. And we just have to hope. We have to. We think highly of JJ, right? And guess what? JJ thinks highly of himself. Not an arrogant guy, but I can tell you right now, he believes, I swear, when you put this game in my hand, I'm going to beat Ohio State, and I'm going to go on, and I'm going to be the front runner for Heisman next year because of the way I played in this one game. So when I say I don't think they're going to do that, I don't think they're going to do that from an RPO perspective. You can put the game in his hands in other ways. I don't think they're going to have a heavy RPO. We don't know, but guess what? Number 9 is going to have the ball quite a bit, and he is going to have to make plays, and they're going to have to trust him to do it, or they're going to get blown out.
And so this is where I'm going with it. We're 11 games in now. The clutch plays that he made at the end of this game. And now you don't really have a choice, because when you watch the way Illinois played them, I mean, I talked about their plan in the run game with sound. It was predicated on we're going to disrespect the personal space of your wide receivers. They can't beat us, right? And so you compare how Michigan's DBs are playing their wide receivers, give them a little cushion at times. They never gave Michigan's receivers cushion. They were like,
I mean, because the thing is like the way Michigan runs the ball, you can't allow that to happen. If you have the pieces and you can put people in position to stop the run, you have to do that, right? And to do that, right? Because the like we talked about, the intricate run game, they always have the numbers. Michigan always finds a way to have the numbers. So you have to add guys in. And when you do that, you have to play man-to-man on the outside. So most of the passing game was a rhythm and timing passing game. Think about it. When the ball is out, it's out on time. The only time the ball is not on time is on those deeper throws, right? The deep throws. So the passing game is rhythm and timing. If you get up in the face of the wide receivers, it takes away the rhythm and timing, right? So now you're like, okay, we'll live with, okay, maybe you might beat us, but is he going to make the throw, right? Because his rhythm and timing are off, because everybody in the country that's going to have to face Michigan knows Michigan hasn't properly, in my opinion, put the quarterback in position to get off of schedule on those plays that the rhythm and timing is messed up. He hasn't done it. right? Or he hasn't shown to be able to do it in game over and over and over again, right? So you gamble, right? Defense is a gamble because you're always behind. You're going to put more guys in the box, make sure you have the numbers, stop the run, right? Stop the run. And then on the outside, okay, he might hit one. He might hit another one. But is he going to do it every single play, right? It's similar to the Chiefs against Tom Brady all those years ago when he was with the Patriots. Two-man, right? You play two-man against a guy that can't run. But you're forcing the quarterback to be perfect on the outside every single time, right? Because you take away the middle, you get in that inside hip pocket if you're a defender, and you force him to throw outside because that's the toughest throw to make. And he did it every single time. The Chiefs are like, we can't do anything about that, right? If the quarterback is going to be perfect every single time, we'll live with that. And most defenses will. And that's what Illinois did. And I guarantee you that's what Ohio State's going to do. They're going to get in their faces and they're going to say, first of all, we think our DBs are better than your receivers. That's the first thing. Secondly, we will live with if you can make plays on the outside because you haven't shown the propensity to be able to do it just yet. So the one thing we know that you will do and that you can do and that you beat us with last year is run the ball in a multitude of ways. So we're going to make sure we stop it.
Yeah. So I use the back-to-back passes as an example. That's not the only measure. There was another instance. So it's the drive that Blake gets hurt on. There was a 2nd and 1. It's like, oh man, they're gonna play pass it because they were with the wind at that point. They ran it and it was neither no gain or they got hit for a 1 yard.
I'm not mad at something like that.
So my point is, this is an opportunity to start trying to back them up. Because if you look at the difference in the way that they play, Michigan, their defensive backs gave Illinois' receivers a little more respect. Tommy DeVito is not as talented as J.J. McCarthy. Numbers-wise, J.J. had more passing yardage, but who played closer to their ceiling in this game? Which offense played closer to its ceiling in this game? I would argue it was Illinois, and it was because they were able to make Michigan respect our pass, respect us enough to give us a little cushion in here to go out and get our running game going, which they did in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Now, credit to Michigan's defense for being able to slam the door, but again, in this game, to your original point about Ohio State, because we got to get to a break and talk more about the Buckeyes on the other side, they're gonna have to make them respect them on the outside if Blake isn't 100%. Now he's saying he's good to go.
Why you keep saying if he's 100%? They brought he fired his friend. They brought a new guy in. You think they brought a guy in for them to just win 10, 11 games again? They win 11 games all the time. He didn't fire his friend because they win 11 games. He fired his friend so this guy can make sure that Blake Corum does not, 100% or not, get what he is able to get the way
it's not like we're making the same point then.
Yeah, but stop talking about the 100% the health of Blake Corum. That I love Blake Corum, and he is going to be able to get down. Like I hope and pray because that's my guy. He is amazing, and he's going to win the Heisman if he can be 100% healthy in his game. But he fired his friend so that he can bring a new guy in to stop the run not against Illinois, not against Iowa. He don't care about them teams. To beat Michigan. It's going to be 15 guys in the box. Period.
I agree.
Period.
I agree.
And because we're in Ohio, they won't even get a penalty.
All right, we'll talk more about those Buckeyes who, again, this was a weekend where a bunch of teams had tight games, including the Buckeyes. Including the Buckeyes had a tight game.
And we're ignoring the fact that maybe it's a little look pass, didn't play a bunch of your players. All that stuff is in play. But guess what? You better make sure you throw that rock on Saturday. Thanksgiving, don't eat too much turkey, wide receivers, because y'all gonna be. I told Roman last night. I was talking to Roman.
Yeah,
Roman, I can't wait until Ohio State looks across and says, "Is that Chris Olave?"
We got to talk about this.
He played for the Saints.
When you say you were playing Roman last night, tell the people who don't know what you're talking about what was going on.
Oh man, I don't play video games, but I was playing a Fortnite tournament. And Roman was on my team, and we pretty much just talk about the game all day. Hey Roman, where you at? Hey, you ready to run and catch the rock? I'm just letting you know because you're about to get down on it. I spoke it into existence. This is going to be the coming out of Roman Wilson. Chris Olave is back in college. Who knew?
So let's get to that. Let's get to a break. I think Roman Wilson is a big key in this game.
100%.
Let's get to that on the other side.
You stole it from me, though.
I did not steal that from you.
No,
I did not steal that from you.
Get to a break. Stole
right.
from me. Get to a break.
We'll get to the break. Monday Morning Quarterback brought to you by our friends at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get to it more DG. Return here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTK, The Ticket. Yeah, man, it was clear to me watching the way that they played. I mean, they gave some more clues, some more tips. This is gonna be a matchup game, man. They're gonna come out heavy preponderance of man.
Preponderance.
Yeah, of man free.
You been hanging out with Borges too much.
Be trying to. I haven't heard Borges use preponderance though. But anyway, you're gonna have an opportunity to get some matchups in here. I think Roman on any of their DBs on some downfield stuff can be one of your best matchups in this game.
Roman said, and I quote, "I've never been so ready for a football game." But this on Sunday though. I can't wait. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, they're not gonna respect him, and he is like that. He's like that. Yeah. We just haven't been able to use him as much, and he's banged up some.
Yeah, I mean, they had the going around campus. They've had this respiratory virus that was going around. And I know his mom had when he was out, she had put on. I think it was on Facebook. She had put out that he had a virus out there. So, but he's a couple weeks removed from that now. But I think the biggest point, the one, however it manifests, whether it's RPOs or back-to-back passes, or hey man, just say, hey, we're gonna commit to trying to back the defense off. What you said earlier about trust JJ more. They obviously trust him more than they trust him now.
Sometimes when I'm watching the games, like I don't think they trust him at all. They just playing him because they got to. That's what I feel like. He's just the best option. Sometimes that's how they treat him. I feel like, because, and I've talked with Borges about this. Like, there's so much that can be unlocked with his skill set, and it's like they're just like, which is so weird to me, because I know in practice he still probably throws interceptions. He probably still tries things, but in the game, what is I feel like Iverson. Well, why do we keep talking about practice? Remember, that's the reason we couldn't do it, man. He was too inconsistent in practice. He was throwing too many interceptions, trying too many things. Well, what's practice for? Practice isn't the time to be perfect. Practice is the time to develop skills and unlock abilities. So I'm pretty sure he still does that. And so you get in the game where he hasn't, right? He's turned over before, right? But is he a repeat offender of turning the ball over? Absolutely not. And does he play cautious? No. Right, he makes some throws that he believes in himself. He makes some talented throws, and it's like, how can we still not trust the kid? Give him a chance to mess it up, I guess. I mean, it seems like they're like, nah, bro, we've seen you in practice all week, every day. We're not about to let you do it. And it's just like, come on, man. Are you satisfied with just 11-0? Come on, you got to trust him. You got to trust him. You got to let him throw it, because I'm just telling you, when I remember the throw, was it a couple weeks ago, where he fits it in between the safety and the linebacker on the tight end's chest. And I'm just like, this is the best. He still's taking chances and you still don't trust him.
This is the best measure. Somebody asked me, what has he done better than Cade to this point in the season? I said, well, they've actually used him pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
They actually used him pretty much the same way.
He's done a better job.
I was like, you know what? I mean, both guys were 11-0, but I guess my point is, the way that he
Cade was
is
10-1. So.
Yeah, Cade was 10-1. He was
10-1.
He was 10-1.
So it's better.
He was 10-1.
What are we arguing about?
Right,
that's because everybody. Oh, remember in the beginning, it's the same. Well, now it's not the same. It's 11-0 and 10-1.
But he's being deployed often very much the same, other than when he's allowed to run some.
So that's the style that the coaches want to play, right? Think about this. Cade was in an offense that's a speed and space offense, and he was like that. This is a 3 yards in a cloud that does offense like I've ever seen it, right? Last year, they conformed to the way the Cade played, and this year they're like, man, that works so good. Let's just keep doing it like that. And they're leaving some on the table with a guy who's got super talent.
Yeah.
But guess what? Unless you want to get blew out, Unless you want to get blew out and look crazy, right? Because everybody watches the show. They're going to look crazy. If you go out there and try to play that same way and it doesn't work, right? And the young guy can't save you, right? Because he's shown that he can put you in position to win games and all these different things. If you go out there and you kind of, we're just going to 3-yard and count dust it too long, because the thing is, Ohio State's going to score. They're going to score. Our defense is going to do what they can. But this offense, you are not going to just keep stopping them over and over and over again.
I just think he can. I think he can do more than they've asked him to do. I guess that's my point.
No, I know that for a fact. I know he can do more than they asked him to do. I know that. It's like, but you think about it. That's what they want. Why JJ was pretty much the same quarterback last year. Why was K the quarterback? Because it's like, man,
he was safer.
He was safe. And guess what? JJ ain't the safest guy in the world.
All right, even
though he ain't turned over, he's just not that safe, and they don't like it.
And we are back, folks, here on the Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. But they're 11-0, Devin. Back here with Devin Gardner, our Monday morning quarterback, brought to you by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. They are 11-0. They are playing for all the marbles against Ohio State, a clash that they won last year with a certain style. You may aptly pointed out that they made some changes.
Fired
for this game.
His friend.
So I want to rewind the tape to something you said. Was it last week or the week before? You said, "Hey, they're just saving some things." So what are the odds that they've just been saving some elements of JJ for this game, for this moment? Do you buy that, or is it simply, you know what? They just don't have a choice. They just don't have a choice because I know you said don't pay attention to whether he's 100% or not. Maybe he's not 100%. If he's not 100%, you definitely don't have a choice. You got to trust him.
Oh, they also got Donovan. I think they feel comfortable leaning on Donovan the same way they lean on.
What is his availability?
Hey, but you added together, if they both 50, you got 100. You got 100% running back.
That's how it works.
You got 100% running back.
That's how it works.
But I think some of the things are being saved. I think some of it. But we talked in the break about how they don't truly trust him still, though, right? But I think some of those things are being saved and banked in their back pocket to make sure that in the game that matters. And let's be clear. They looked past Illinois a little bit. They did. The game plan showed it. The play on the field showed it. Everything showed it. They looked past Illinois, and obviously they didn't foresee that their running back would get hurt. They looked past them. They sat some players that could have played. If it was Ohio State week, of the players that sat, they would have played. Period.
So let me give you a stat line, because I was looking to say Blake wasn't available in the second half. All right. First down play call. Because Illinois really ratcheted it. I mean, you thought they were disrespectful of the personal space of the receivers in the first half. In the second half, I mean, they were, hey, man, it was the lambada on the outside, man. They were all up in the grill. First down runs, 2, 3, 7, -4, 1, 1, and 1. Those are the first down runs.
And those ones are basically -4. You might as well count those as -4.
Now,
because of where we play.
Eventually they are like, okay, these dudes, for first down, they are run blitz. They are never going to stop run blitzing on first down. And so Michigan start running their man beaters, right? Yeah. So they start running some crosses, springing guys open. I anticipate in this game versus Ohio State, to get back to something we were talking about in the break, they're going to give you a decent amount of man coverage. So crossers, picks, matchups. And this is where I want to get to with the Roman piece. You said you think this is a breakout game for Roman. This is I think an outstanding matchup opportunity for him, because you saw Raheem Jarrett running away from dudes in that game Saturday.
Nice too. He's real nice.
I think you can see Roman doing the same thing.
But it's even better. Roman's not going to get the number one. Ronnie Bell's going to get their one. Right, Ronnie Bell's going to get their one, and they might use a 2 on the tight end, to be honest. Right, because the offense suggests we want to get the ball to the tight end probably first, right?
Right. And he didn't have his tight end.
And it could be 1A, 1B, right? 1A, 1B, Ronnie Bell or tight end, right? So Roman Wilson has been able to live in obscurity. Only people that know about Ronnie Bell's talent in the country, I'm sure they know he's fast, right? That's about it. we know his talent.
You're talking about Roman Wilson.
Roman Wilson, right? A lot of Michigan people know his talent, but he's been living in obscurity, right? Sickness, injured, whatever the case may be. Guess what? He's going to get their second or third best guy. And like you said, matchups, talk about a matchup, he's going to be able to get the ball quite a bit. And when he gets the ball and starts running extremely fast, everybody, remember how Marvin Harrison Jr., everybody thought he was pretty good, but he exploded in the Rose Bowl. And it's like, man, he might be the best receiver in the country right now, right? That is the type of capability and opportunity that Roman Wilson has, right? Where you got to live in obscurity essentially all year, and now you're in a position where I'm not going to even get their best guy.
Well, I want to hit on something else you said earlier. Look, I wouldn't be opposed to them starting this game like you start every other game. Probe them, see if you can, whether they put 8, 9 in the box or not, if you can still cut through them like Swiss cheese, right?
I want to naked the first play.
I hear what you're saying.
Naked,
but it can't be till the fourth quarter where you back off of that. If they show you early in the game that they're more man than they were last year against the run, right? And I'm talking about man. They weren't man enough last year to stop Michigan on the ground.
I don't truly think they're Superman enough like that, right? I don't think that. I think that they're just going to have too many guys, right? I think if they play it straight up, I think we'll still be able to run the ball down the throat with or without Blake. I think Blake will make it a lot better, but I think we'll still be able to run the ball down the throat. But they're going to add guys. They're not going to risk trying to prove so even though they seem like they're a prideful organization, they're not stupid. All right. So they're not going to be so prideful. Oh, we're going to show you that we tougher than last year. We're going to play you straight up and we're going to show you. Not going to do it. That's stupid. Why would we risk it? Why would we risk it? Because they know how that snowball starts to roll, right? Yeah. You get one run and then another run and then whatever. You can start to get in a rhythm in the run game, similar to what we talked about in the pass game. So they're not going to even test to see if they're man enough. They are going to put more guys than we have.
Well, see, so Illinois did that, and Michigan was able to still run into that successfully, just not Penn State like, right? Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, and I think
also one thing that we're ignoring: JJ's legs are going to play a huge part in this game. His legs are going to play a huge part in this game.
They've been holding that back, I think.
Yeah.
To your point, back to what I'm getting at, though. I think you're gonna have to back these dudes up. I think you're gonna have to back
Why you keep
these
saying
dudes
think?
up.
I'm confused. Have we not? I'm essentially standing on the table.
Saying
what are you talking about?
I think they're gonna have to back these dudes.
Sam, stop thinking. Have we been wrong once?
I'm sure. You talking about this show?
Yes.
Pretty good record.
I mean, we 98%.
I think it's a pretty good record.
So why you keep thinking? Get your butt on that table. You know, Jeff Bauer always be yelling at me because in the game sometimes I do my research. I watch a lot of film and it shows when I call games. And sometimes, I say, I think they should whatever. He said, stop saying that. Stop it. You are the expert. You say what they should do. If they don't do it, it doesn't work, then you are correct. And if they do something else that works, whatever. Stop thinking. Stop thinking, Sam. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hear you think again.
You're hanging around Bauer too much, man.
I don't want to hear you think anymore.
This is how you meet. This is how
Can you please? Yeah, we argue all the time. We get rowdy.
They're gonna have to back these dudes up.
They are. I'm sorry, we say
these dudes up.
They are going to have to black these dudes up. Get your butt on that table with me, Sam.
I've been saying
being all gentle
that they're gonna have to.
I think, man. He said, and you pull the air through your teeth. I think they're gonna have to. No. Get on that table. They're going to have to back them dudes up.
They're going to have to back them up.
I want to hear I want to hear a Flintstone say it. How the Flintstone say it?
If they
they're going to back them boys up.
Especially if they do what most coaches do. You go and watch how other teams play. It's a copycat game. And you see what Illinois was able to do. I don't think they're as physical as Illinois.
But the one thing, though.
But still.
And it's so crazy. Illinois, I saw them last year, and it was right after they had paid that young coordinator. I said, hold on now. Illinois going to be all right. Because they safety 30, the twin of the running back. He is a great football player, and he does so much for the defense. So I knew they would be a good defense last year, even though they weren't very good. And, this year they paid them even more money, I think, and they've been outstanding. And still beat them and won without most of our football players that contributed all year. But that's neither here nor there. I love that you're on the table finally. That's good.
Hey, man, I said
you acting like you from West Bloomfield and not Flint.
I said earlier in this show.
Talking about these Flint conies and all that carrying on. You acting like you got a coney from West Bloomfield.
No. You messing with my sensitivities right now. You messing with my sensitivities right now. But you look at how JJ is utilized.
Mm-hmm.
And I said before, I'll go with you on this. I know he's capable of more.
Yeah, fully capable.
Now, this is the time where I think we're gonna have to see it. Then we're gonna have to see it for them to win the game. We're gonna have to see it for them to win the game.
At home on the car on the radio, you can't see how I'm looking at him when he said that T word again.
We're gonna have to see more JJ in this game for them to win.
And I'll take it a step further. We're going to see more JJ, and they will win. Period. We're going to see more JJ because there's no other option, right? And he's going to be able to show what he's truly capable and show all of his skills, right? He's going to have to be the most detailed, the most focused he's ever been. Right, he is going to have to put on display all the things that we hoped and thought about him throughout the entire year. What's that? Get in the fight, Sam. Sam, you sitting there. It's a perfectly good pocket for you to step into, and you hanging out on the outskirts while the offensive line setting it up for you. Get your butt in the fight.
So I guess this is my thing. I want to sit here and make sure.
That was good. Who said that? That was really good.
I want to sit here and make sure that I'm not assigning too much blame in any one area, because one guy came at me and said, man, you never talk about anything JJ does wrong. That's not true. That's not true at all. When he missed some guys, I said he missed some guys. Same thing with the receivers. Drop balls, call it out, talk about it. But the rhythm established by the play caller, I talk about that too. And I think all of those things were issues. So when I talk about I think this, I think that, he's gonna have to play better. Receivers going to have to catch the ball when it's thrown to them, and they're going to have to, as play callers, put them in position to be in better position throughout the game.
Yeah.
Not just in the fourth quarter.
You know, a lot of times when you come to a game like this, you think, man, somebody's going to have like a Herculean effort for Michigan to win. They have to make some spectacular plays, a la 451 yards and put you in position, 5 touchdowns, I don't know who did that. But broken foot, Hercules, yeah.
So what holes do you see real quick? What holes do you see in Ohio State? Talk about them.
So there aren't a whole bunch of holes, but they're a human football team. And the thing is, for a long time, the talent gap was huge. It was so big, right? I was just about to get to it. You don't have to have an Herculean effort from anybody, right? Play football. That's it. Right, because as much as they have all these 5 stars and whatever, the players that will play in the game, and no pun intended, the game, the players that will play, both sides are even, dude. Right? They might have a bunch of 5 stars that aren't contributing yet, and in the future they're going to be so good and whatever. What Michigan's been able to do with their 3 stars, 4 stars, or whatever, the talent on the field is going to be equal.
So give me your take. You say Michigan is going to have to have more JJ. How many passes in this game?
I don't know about that, because the thing is dictated on how the game goes. The thing is, you could make one downfield pass and complete it, and then they might loosen up and say,
oh yeah,
hold on now. That's what everybody's been scared of. We can't allow them to complete those. Because those are backbreakers. Those are gashes. Because the thing is, that's what Michigan hasn't shown to be able to do as much. So he starts hitting some of those. They're like, and guess what? Then now they're at your mercy.
All right, so be specific then. I guess that's what I'm looking at. When you say more JJ, what are you talking about? Running more throws, run pass, balance.
The ball in his hands. The ball in his hands to make the decision on what happens on the play. Period. Not a handoff where they block the end. Right? Handoff block the end. He's there's no keep option. There's none of that. The ball in his hands to make the decision solely, not a called play. The ball in his hands to make the decision on who gets the ball and where it goes. Period. I don't know. It's so goofy. Like, how many throws? I don't know how many dang throws they're gonna throw. I don't know how many times they need to run them. He needs to make the decision more times than not on who gets the ball, where it goes.
More RPO, more zone read.
He needs to. His boy can't hear me. He needs to make the decision. If that means play action pass, if that means drop back, if that means RPO, if that means RPO, no pass, so RO, run option from 2 different places, speed option, whatever it needs to be. He has to be the driving force. Anytime that the one time that it didn't happen was last year because Ohio State just wasn't man enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
every single year, whoever wins this game, the quarterback has to be extremely dynamic. And if you want to have a chance to win 2013, the quarterback has to be extremely dynamic, right?
Yeah.
That is a fact. Go look at in the last 10, 20 years, whatever. Braxton Miller, Devin Gardner, Denara, whoever it is, you have to be dynamic at quarterback position. Last year, they weren't man enough. Not going to be the same this year.
Fortunately, they have a quarterback that can do that.
They got a quarterback that can do it.
JJ can do it.
Look at you on the table. Good for you.
JJ can do it. We got to get to a break or got to get out of here. Thanks for listening. We're about to do the film study. Be sure to check that out later. Another edition of Monday Morning Quarterback in the books here on the Michigan Insider Sports Talk 1050 WTK, the ticket, the official voice